The Toyota Glanza has turned 1 year old. It's quite a landmark for Toyota because really a badge engineered car and done quite successfully as well. And talking to me about it is Naveen Soni, who is really the business head of Toyota in India. Naveen, congratulations. Thanks for talking to us. Let's just talk about numbers. I think you've been pretty happy with the numbers so far. I mean, you've instantly gone from zero to many thousands in a segment you weren't present. So, an exercise that's worked quite well for you in a sense.
Sure. So, Hormas, thank you so much. I think it's 1 year younger than 1 year older, right? So basically, what we have seen is that as far as Glanza is concerned, there were many naysayers at the time when we launched the product. There was no successful cross badging or badge production examples which have been successful. We were confident that that the type of distinguishing factors that we could bring on the table from a customer point of view, and that has actually helped us. And numbers wise, it's gone from 0 to 25,000 plus volume in just 1 year's time period, and that's a very big achievement to have, because as far as the numbers is concerned, these are customers who probably, most of them, were not considering to buy a Toyota in the family because
So,
of the kind.
so sorry to interrupt. These are largely new customers to the
I,
Toyota
I
family.
I'll come to that. I'll come to that. There has been three phases in this 1 year, and I'm living in the third phase right now. So when we started making started selling the Glanza, basically for the first 3 months when we did a dipstick on the customer base that was buying the Glanza, the remarkable factor was that over 60% of the customers who were approaching us in the first 3 months was a first time Toyota buyer. I'm talking about first time, not a car buyer, but a first time Toyota buyer. He was not in the family. And we have this tendency that, that all our products upsell or downsell in the family. In the sense that, that if you have a Innova, then you buy a Fortuner, then you buy a Camry, and then you buy a Land Cruiser, whatever. Now, or the other way around, if you have a Camry, then you buy a lower product from Toyota. Because of your how should I say, convenience and happiness about this the treatment that you've been given at the dealerships. Yeah. So basically, when we got 60% new set of customers, we said this is something new to learn. We have to understand these customers because most of them belong to an age bracket which is new to us. A typical Toyota buyer is above 40 and things like that. So here was a 30 to 40-year-old guy walking into, or even younger guy walking into the Toyota showroom and then trying to ask us questions after doing his due diligence on the product online, etc. So basically, the brand promise was that you buy a Glanza from us, you will get the Toyota service. You will get the what we are known for is taking care of our customers. So we promised that to our customers, and then once these people experienced it, yes, they were very happy. It takes time for word of mouth to spread. So that is the second phase that started. In the second phase, the upsell and downsell guys started to come in. So it was mostly existing Toyota buyers, and this percentage went down to as low as 40%, and then the 60% were Toyota buyers downselling their in the family buying another Toyota. Recently, post COVID, one important phenomena that has happened is um, lot of Glanza sales started to increase as a percentage of the total sales. The Glanza sales has been kind of remarkably good.
Sorry, total percentage of Glanza, total percent of Toyota sales, you're saying,
Toyota's Glanza's contribution to Toyota sales.
began to increase.
Glanza, yeah, it has been increasing. It has been increasing rapidly. And why I say so is because when you analyze that customer, when we check at the dealerships, what is the nature of these customers? They say that again we are seeing a spurt of non-Toyota buyers walking into the showroom. Okay.
But Naveen, sorry to interrupt. Could it
Yeah.
also be a sign that the recovery is happening at lower end of the segment as well? I mean, people.
Okay, recovery is a positive word. I definitely would like to follow that word. But actually, what we have realized is that in this segment, in the passenger car segment, uh, people's mobility needs have changed in the sense that I do not want shared mobility. I do not want to go by public transport, but I cannot sacrifice going from point A to point B. I have to fulfill that need. So from that point of view, what is happening is that people have to go from point A to point B, but they would like to stay safe. Because they would like to stay safe, they have this main reason that they would like to buy cars for themselves. Most of these customers who are walking into the Toyota dealership now asking for a Glanza are asking one simple question, which is the lowest price variant that you have in Glanza?
Oh, really?
Yes.
Lowest price variant.
Lowest price variant, entry variant. And most of the sales is coming at the entry level of the Glanza that we sell. So this is a phenomena that tells us that that these are people who are kind of their mobility needs have not disappeared, but their style of mobility has changed, and so therefore they would like to not compromise on safety, and therefore they are looking at the vehicles that carries them from point A to point B safely.
Yeah. So sorry, I just want to stop you there. Do you think if this is the trend, you might, and even manufacturers might later go on to kind of, tweak their variant offering, especially at the lower end, So,
If this continues for a long time, Hormuz, I think what you're saying is right. It may warrant looking at the lineup that you offer, and of course these things are I would say conditional to the sense that till we find a cure for this virus, till we find a vaccine for this virus, these things will dominate the mindset of the customer. Definitely, he would be concerned about his safety or his family's safety. So that is why he's coming to us. The point that we also have to understand is economically the country is not doing so well. So obviously he's got a looming threat of a job, a salary cut, a job cut, or something like that, which is bothering him. But at the same time, he wants to do the job that he's been allocated. So basically, he wants to come forward, but at the same time, his economically he's not that well off. So to kind of
right.
upsell the car. So from that point of view, it is always better that that we understand the customer needs. If this is going to be a long-term phenomena, yes, you will see a lot of companies come out with low-end variants.
Yeah, I mean, we saw this happening in the Ola Uber phenomenon, where let's say,
Yes,
for them there were certain variants being done specifically to meet that
absolutely.
kind of price target and the need. So this could also happen, with if customers are looking at the lowest or the cheapest variant.
Yeah,
But Naveen, I just want to let's say jump back to the celebration, and just the in a way it has been a phenomenon. 25,000 units is a lot, especially to be honest for all of us who are skeptical of badge engineered product. We've seen with other brands it's really not worked, but it's really worked well with yours. So, what do you think has been the success? Because very clearly, it is definitely, to be honest, a Baleno with a Toyota badge. It's
okay.
quite there. Really, nothing has been done. What
Right.
has made let's say buyer choose, let's say, a Toyota over a Maruti? I'm just being very upfront
Sure.
there.
Sure. Yeah, this was something that we were consciously debating and discussing. We did not want to compete with each other. The idea is that that we have a product offering from a Toyota dealership, which is unique and differentiated from what others can offer. So when I sell a ar from a Toyota dealership, it comes as a package. Sales is just one part of the package. I sell him the Toyota reliability. I sell him the Toyota service. I sell him the Toyota packages like Edge and all those things, roadside assistance, warranty. All this becomes as a package for the customer when he's buying a Toyota. So when he comes to the dealership and he sees what the experience he gets at the dealership, his conviction about the brand grows. And that is why very, very few Toyota customers tend to go outside the family. If we are not able to provide that product, then only he is looking at outside the family, because he is very comfortable dealing with the dealerships and the experience that he's getting at the dealership. So that is the unique selling proposition of Toyota. It
Right.
is when we spoke to the dealers, we told them you are the biggest strength that we have, and you can make this product a success. And basically, what they have been able to do is, yes, initially a lot of draw came from non-Toyota customers, but when they experienced it, even in the third phase that I'm talking about, 50% of the new set of customers coming back to us. Uh, One of the reasons is word of mouth also. When he talks to another Glanza customer and he finds him satisfied, there's a natural tendency that no amount of advertisements can sway the customer's mind as much as word of mouth can. So if my friend tells me that it's a good deal and a good place to go and buy a Toyota, then he comes to the showroom. So
Right.
that is the main differentiator. If you ask me what is the differentiator, is the experience. Toyota experience is the main differentiator. And that is why our customers remain our customers and competition customers, can be there.
So that's very interesting. So, you say you keep it within the Toyota family. I know from the Glanza up, the next one really is a Yaris. And after that, there was Corolla, but now Corolla is gone. The point I want to ask is, how many Glanza customers have then bought other Toyota models as well? Has there been a bit of a rub-off effect? It could be the second car in the family, or are they basically first-time car buyers with only that sort of budget and affordability in mind from that spectrum of buyers?
I think it's a bit too early, Hurmas, for us to, kind of look into that part because, see, typically upselling is difficult. Downselling is easier. Upselling you require to expand the customer base, and then you need to get more people into the family. So it's always easier because of the nature of the market. Market is like a pyramid. At the base is very large. So for this customer to move up or recommend somebody to move up would be a challenge. But yes,
Right.
sooner than later, that may also happen, is what we see.
Right, and you've got more affordable products also coming again, which
Yes.
are going to be jointly done with your partner. So that
Yes.
could be one opportunity, which we'll come to later. But just talking again on Glanza, the micro hybrid or mild hybrid, whatever it is, it's been quite popular and it's been very well priced also. So was it something strategic because Toyota always wants to push a kind of a hybrid option? So
You bang on. Yeah, yeah.
was that
So,
strategic to take? I mean, obviously, you might be taking a bit of a knock on that also in terms of contribution, but was it really to get the people have a small taste of even hybrid at a very small level because you wanted to see the whole concept of hybridization?
yeah, in a way, what you're saying is right. Toyota is becoming synonymous with hybrids in this country. Maybe because we pioneered the technology, that is why this situation occurs. But having said that, yes, it makes sense to kind of tell customers, the discerning customers, that there is a better way, more fuel efficient way, more environment friendly way, which is the hybrid cars, which promote all these things and definitely benefit the pocket also. So from that point of view, when we positioned the price of various products, definitely the hybrid was given priority. We were thinking that we would like to sell more than what the existing product is selling in this sales ratio point of view, and we were successful because as compared to the initial numbers that were given to us, I think it was around 8% if I remember correctly. And for us, the contribution grew as high as 21 to 24% also of the mild hybrid as a total sales of Glanza. Customers do consider various factors, so including fuel efficiency, what is the merit to them as a customer, and then they make these choices. So the discerning customers, the rational customers, would always think, what is it in for me? If this technology is benefiting me as a person, I definitely would like to adopt it. And that's where the mild hybrid scores over the others. Yeah.
Right. And you talked about the fact that a lot of people are buying into the Toyota family as a reason why people have bought it. Though everyone knows it's let's say a badge engineered car, but again coming specifically to the features, I mean, and what is offer. What are customers saying? I mean, do they know it's very similar to let's say a car from your partner, and and respect to the styling and features and stuff like that? What's the kind of feedback been over there? Because it's clearly not got Toyota DNA, but what you're selling is a Toyota experience.
Yes, you're absolutely right. Actually, there's nothing to hide about this, and there's even if I try, I can't. Basically the customer sees that this is a cross badge product, and it is something that we get, and we openly say that this is a product that we get from our alliance partner. And definitely, from that point of view, this is how should I say, the unique selling proposition therefore becomes, how do you take care of your customers, therefore. And
Right.
that was a clearly thought out strategy, that we would have to sell more than the product, the service, the experience of being a Toyota customer. And that is why we pitched more on the aspects of, how do we take care of our customers, how roadside assistance is provided, how warranty is given, how parts are, it's easier to manage a Toyota at a Toyota dealership,
Yeah.
in simple terms. Yeah.
Yeah. And you've got another cross badge product coming. I think it's sort of in a way official. Maybe the name, I don't know whether it's official, but Urban Cruiser is what we it's
I
going to be.
also read it in your publication.
Well, at least you're not denying it. That's a good sign. So, uh, with your experience of Glanza, now, are you confident? I mean, that's the next one. Is this going to be the same kind of approach with the, let's say, buyer? Or from what we understand, there's a little more of a differentiation, a little bit more of a Toyota style DNA. So, can it be now the next step is, okay, Glanza, it was just the product's the same. I'm not fooling anyone. It's very thing. It's our service. But is this, are you going to take it a next step of a slight product differentiation as well?
Yeah, so as far as the product styling and strategy is concerned, I'm sorry, I'll have to, ask you to wait till we have the further announcements of the same. But having said that, directionally, yes, we have been trying to understand what is it that the customer will appreciate more. Definitely, the experience has paid dividends in terms of, finding that our customer looks at those value systems, and then he finds those value systems resonating at the dealership, and therefore he comes to the Toyota dealership to buy the same product. But having said that, he also would like to have a differentiation in his personality, suited to his personality, and styling that is suited to him, etc., etc. But these things, as you and I know, takes time in terms of, product reform changes, etc.
Development, yeah.
So those things definitely will be on call as we go further. Yeah.
So that's interesting. So what you're saying is design, the look, the experience is very critical. Can be even make or break. People want a certain look, and that's something which is takes time, but it's an important direction more than, let's say, the engine and other stuff like that.
Yeah, equally important. Definitely, once that's the initial draw into the showroom. If I see an advertisement displaying a car and I like the shape, size of the vehicle, then I am attracted to go and check more details about either online or inside the dealership. So that is the initial draw. But once you're inside the dealership, what actually matters, what differentiates you from anybody else is the experience that you offer to the customer. So again, without overemphasizing the point, I'd like to once again say that that's very, very important. That's very, very critical to the brand. What brand promise you give to your customer is only between you and your set of customers. And if they can appreciate that, then they will not only come back to you, but send more friends and relatives to you.
Right, right, right. Absolutely. So, and again, just sticking to this segment, yeah, Etios, it's completely gone. EFC is gone. You've lost a lot of volume there. Clearly, do you see you getting that volume back a little bit with Glanza, the next models with this, and even Yaris, which you've in a way quite successfully at least change the trajectory of the volumes of that model. So between these three, which is basically below your MPVs and SUVs, do you think this could sort of compensate for what you have lost with the Etios and the Liva?
Yeah, so you're right, absolutely, Hermas. If you look at it from a history point of view, when we discontinued the Qualis, and we offered the Innova to the market way back in 2005, a similar trend occurred. We said that we wanted to offer better technology, more refined technology to the market, and give more advanced technology to the market, and therefore came the third generation post. Kijang is the Innova, which was offered to the Indian customer.
Yeah.
So it was a one generation leap forward. Same way, I think we have been able to kind of, successfully get into the mind of the customer that even if, say, the Ethos is not there, there is a Glanza in a Toyota showroom, which he can even buy for whatever customers were coming to us earlier. Plus, the more the personal segment is also attracted to this car. Then we have the Ethos. Then why not the Yaris for the same set of customers? So we I don't think so. We are negative about losing. Definitely, we'll miss the Ethos and Liva, which served a definite need for the customer and the market. But in the same price bracket, in the same similar product needs, are in a much better, refined, and advanced product. If we can offer, the customer is likely to adopt these technologies. It takes time. It took time for even Innova to establish in this market. After the initial hype, there was a lull, and then it took off, and then never looked back. So the same way, I think the good days are yet to come for Yaris, and Glanza also, I'm sure, will grow from strength to strength.
Right. And looking, at your bread and butter, which is the IMV platform, lots happening there. We've launched the BS6 models, obviously, that's now in the market. Clearly, there's more excitement coming from these products as well. We've seen that. We've seen some international facelifts. So, I mean, how's the market for this? And is this also going to be a big thrust area because there's competition as well? Prices have also gone up. BS6 is not cheap, though. You have to take a bit of a hit on it and pass some on to the customer. So all these strategies come into play. How important this is your bread and butter of the company over here has to be protected now. Also in COVID times, these segments I would imagine are a little bit under stress as well. What's the strategy from your side for both Innova and Fortuner?
Innova and Fortuner both will continue to be the mainstay for the IMV series will continue to be a mainstay for Toyota in India, and they have proven to meet the kind of aspirations of the customers and the needs of the customers in a very well defined manner. And the more we kind of refine that product, the more we get closer to the customer's needs, and the more the customer kind of comes back to us. And that is a true reflection that even when there was the BS6 changeover, the Innova pricing did take a enhancement in terms of the price point, but there was no lull, and I'm talking pre-COVID, and now post-COVID also it's coming back. Is that that pre-COVID we could clearly see that the Innova segment was definitely growing from strength to strength, despite the BS6 makeover. And as I said earlier, also this was competing against then at that point of time, because we had stopped making BS4 sometime in January. So January and February and March, mainly we were selling the BS6 because the BS4 was on a run out phase. So from that point of view, BS6 has been a successful launch and establishment for these two products. And despite the price increase, which we partly had to take in, like you rightly said, basically we could see that the customers' confidence on the product is so high that they would come back to us, and that is what motivates us to go further in terms of meeting his aspirations. Yeah.
Yeah, but Naveen, as you said, it's a mainstay of the range, but a lot riding on it also. Do you think, in a way, to de-risk yourself and the fact that there are opportunities, such wide product gaps, to be honest, in Toyota, there's scope for maybe even a mini Innova or a smaller MPV, because that's really your strength. I'm just asking you as a potential, over there. So, do you think as a strategy that's it's a logical thing to do?
Yeah, definitely. These are things that we are always looking at the white spaces that exist, and how we can fulfill those white spaces. And it will be a constant endeavor of the company to study them and then see what is most suitable. Takes time because of you also very well understand these things cannot be switch on and switch off kind of a decision. So it takes time, but yes, whenever it is right, it will be there.
Yeah. So, sorry, I want to pin you on that. Takes time. I mean, I'm being quite honest. It's the Toyota way, not very nimble and agile. But once they do it, they come like a steamroller. But point I'm trying to make is India in now Toyota's sphere. I mean, Uh, Obviously, in these times, everyone's going to be focusing on priority markets. Toyota's got a big sort of let's say uh, lots of markets to worry about. How important is India in Toyota's scheme of things? Is it still very much a high priority, or is do you sense that let's say there might be a little bit of a slowdown on launching of new models?
No, no, I don't think so because see, COVID has impacted uniformly across the globe. It's not a India unique phenomena or a country specific unique phenomena. The grade and the intensity might be different because of the size of the population that we have. Obviously, the number of cases would be seemingly higher, but look at the kind of recoveries that are happening, or the people's reluctance to accept this disease also is very high. So from that point of view, yes, it has impacted the globe. So we are also equally impacted. I don't think so. India can be ignored by any car maker or any manufacturer, so to say, because if you look at the size of the market, it is equivalent to the next 10 countries in Asia put together. Barring Japan, of course, and China. If you put these two countries aside, then if we look at the markets that exist, yes, there are also big markets. They are also big markets, but the total contribution is the same as what India can give as a market. So if you're looking at this market size, 3 million plus car market, then obviously this warrants the attention of any car maker who wants to make a successful imprint here. It's a typical market. It may not follow the trends what happened in Southeast Asia. It may be more aligned towards Europe or whatever the case may be in terms of product preferences and tastes and preferences, etc., etc. But having said that, I think it's very important to understand that no country, no company willing to make a mark on a global footprint would like to, keep India out of their spectrum.
Right. And lastly, just winding down, this buyback scheme which is there. I mean, how is that working out?
Again, the
Do you think?
confidence on the product, Hormas, we said the same for Yaris, and we did come out with the Yaris residual value or Areva Yaris scheme, which was basically telling the customers 3 years down the line, if you want to buy a Toyota and you want to trade in this car, we will pay you minimum 50% of the price of the vehicle that you paid now.
Right.
That tells you the confidence that we have on our product. The same way on Glanza also we've offered the buyback scheme. It is up to 55%, not even 50%, 55%. And that shows the confidence that we have on the product, and the confidence that we have that we will be able to fetch that resale price minimum from the market 3 years hence. So therefore, this is just a way to say I'm confident about what I'm doing, and if you like the product, I would like to give this to you for your
Right.
mobility.
So obviously, in COVID times, there are a lot of new ways of looking at the market. Just to end, just to sum up, I mean, what has this kind of very extraordinary global situation taught you? I know there's work from home is becoming a reality. Smaller office sizes is a way of not only keeping people safe, but even saving costs. That's a very big important way forward. Is looking at costs very important? Is being very selective on now what models you choose also being very important? What are the few takeaways, or the top three takeaways from once we come out on the other side of this whole pandemic crisis?
I think this pandemic has even made us more agile and alert, okay, and responsive. We cannot take anything for granted in terms of setting paradigms in terms of this is how it happens or this is how it will happen. Every day is a new day. Believe you me, every day when you wake up, you look at the sales report of the previous day, understand the market. It is so very different from and the issue is that it fluctuates on a daily basis. There's no trend that I can establish. So I have to be always agile and alert and responsive to the market. And towards that, when we did this restructuring about, creating these strategic business units, offices in our different areas, and gave them autonomy to do whatever is best for the market, has actually helped us, because the speed at which we are able to respond to the market has actually helped us reach the aspirations or the needs of the customers via the dealers here.
Right. Well, great, Naveen. On that note, as you said, for Toyota to become fast, agile, and responsive
I saw a
is,
smile on your face when I
yeah,
said
is well, and so something really good has, if
that.
it can be, come out of this whole crisis. But
Yeah.
really, I think coming back, I think Glanza, congratulations, first
Thank you.
anniversary. Really an amazing number. 25,000 is a lot,
Yes.
especially from zero on a car that's fundamentally just badge engineered. So really, it is the Toyota brand, the Toyota promise, which has kind of got those customers.
Yes,
Wish
please.
you all the best. Thanks
Thank you
so
so
much
much.
for talking to us,
Thank you.
and stay
Always
well
a
and
pleasure.
stay safe. Thank you.
Thank you. Stay safe. Yeah. Thank
Bye.
you.